The People's Defense Unit's YPG was formed after the Qamishli uprising in 2004 by Kurdish youth who were brutally repressed by the Syrian regime in the years leading up to the Syrian civil war. Before the civil war erupted in 2011, the YPG had been organizing itself underground. With the rise of the civil war, the YPG aimed to defend Kurdish majority areas and took a neutral stance, what is called the third narrative, not siding with the regime or the extremists and terrorist groups. In 2012, the YPG had its first experience as the defense force of Rojava against the al-Nusra jihadists in the town of Sarakania. The YPG liberated the town and rescued the civilians from the hands of jihadist group in July 2013. It became the first fight in Rojava, which was effectively resisted against al-Qaeda affiliates. Later on, in October 2013, the YPG fought against Daesh terrorists and liberated Tel Kochar, another region of Rojava, whilst lifting the embargo on the region for the first time. YPG fighters played a critical role in rescuing Yazidis from the massacre of Daesh terrorists in Sinjar town in 2014 by opening a corridor and leading them to safety into Rojava. When the Yazidis in Sinjar were in the brink of a mass genocide, YPG fighters stepped in. When Daesh terrorists sieged the town of Kobani in 2014, YPG fighters fought against the terrorists with great determination, sacrifice and belief. The battle for Kobani wrote history with the efforts of the fighters who fought until the last bullet to rescue and liberate the town, and so they did. The liberation of Kobani became the first major defeat of Daesh. This was soon followed by the liberation of Girespi in 2015, which inflicted heavy blow on the terrorists as the town was strategically important due to its border crossing with Turkey. In the autumn of 2015, the YPG joined under the newly founded Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF) to carry out the operation to liberate Al-Hol. The Al-Hol operation, followed by the Tishrin Dam operation in December, finished in success against Daesh terrorists. In early 2016, the YPG took part in the operation to capture al-Shaddadi, becoming another liberated city. The fight to liberate towns and cities from terrorism continued with the eventual liberation of Manbij city in August 2016, where the YPG and YPJ both fought to rescue the city. The YPG and YPJ took on the role of rescuing civilians and providing their safety, which they did, with thousands of civilians safely being evacuated from the city. But today, having liberated many areas from the terrorist group, the YPG has become a force which fights for the liberation of all Syrian peoples and will continue on doing so. For this reason, YPG fighters are marching to liberate Raqqa city, the city declared the caliphate capital of the Daesh terrorists.
قال لي تروح على اسطنبول. انتقلت أيضا إلى أورفا. أيضا كانت الإجراءات سهلة. أيضا كان العبور من الحدود التركية للحدود السورية. ما كان فيه إلا تقريبا شارع.
As the operation is ongoing, YPG fighters are facing the plots of some circles in order to list the YPG as a terrorist organization in the international sense. This is unacceptable, as the YPG continues to fight against terrorism and sacrifices its fighters in their battle. Turkey, with its anti-Rojava position, cannot tolerate the successes and advances of the YPG against terrorists and jihadist groups, which it at some point gave support to as a result of its anti-Kurdish policies Ankara views the international volunteers fighting alongside YPG as terrorists too, as their position is not only anti-Kurdish, but against the formation of a democratic northern Syria where every people's voices are listened and heard. The proxies of Ankara, the so-called Syrian opposition, recently in the Astana peace talks, has called for the YPG to be listed as terrorists with the silent support of the Kurdish National Coalition.
How can you be a terrorist when you're fighting for your own homeland? How can you be a terrorist when all you're doing is defending yourself?
I think it's absolutely ludicrous for such allegations to be made. I mean, they're clearly being made by people, sources that are against like a free and non-violent Middle East.
The Syrian people, and I've seen nothing but unilateral support for the YPG from local people from all ethnicities, Yazidis, Ashuri, Arabs, Kurds, Turkmen, everybody I've known, civilian, has voiced their support and love for the YPG.
My Kurdish name is Zagros Weaver. I've been here almost 6 months now, and I'm the commander of the TMU.
My name is Shirvan Aguirre. I'm from Michigan in the United States. I've been here for a little over 5 months.
I'm Paul Hetfield. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, USA. I've been in Rojava for 8 months now.
My name is Devin Atem. My Kurdish name is Judy Toleldan. I'm from Holland.
My name is Rashid. I'm from the United States and I've been here for 2 months.
I was with the United States Marine Corps, and I first saw the Yazidi people and the Kurds, and I saw Rojava just across the border, and I fell in love with the place. I told myself I'd always go back there.
I didn't want to sit for longer on my couch and do nothing. I've seen all the horrible things that's being done to our people, and I just couldn't sit and do nothing.
We're fighting an enemy that despises us and despises the West. It's terrible, some of the things they've done.
I was in the Army for 6 years, and it's always a waiting game, you know, but once you're used, you're used. I love the Kurdish people. They're very polite and hospitable.
I believe that the YPG and democratic confederalism is the best political solution to the instability in the Middle East, and I think that it's my responsibility as someone who believes in these values to fight for them.
Today, YPG has become a force which values the importance of women in the fight against terrorism, with the all-female wing being the Women's Defense Unit's YPJ, which was established in 2012. The YPJ today is a multi-ethnic women's army with the basis of liberating women, not only from terrorism, prosecution and violence, but from societal oppression and mentality of traditional society in the region. Many internationalists, Westerners, have joined the YPG in the fight against Daesh, recognizing its struggle against terrorism with the fundamental basis of equality and fraternity in Rojava. The YPG fights to create a democratic nation and fighting against those who wish to divide and terrorize the people. This is what it sees as its main duty.
I think if more people had that attitude that I'm going to stay here, this is my home, you know, I'm going to make it safe here for my future generations, not leave, not go somewhere else. You know, all you do when you leave a place is you move your problem somewhere else. I think the Rojava Defense Force is the perfect answer to changing all of the Middle East. I think could be the example, the shining example of what freedom really could look like for not just Kurds, but for the Ashurians, the Arabs, everybody, you know. I think this is the best shot that we have.
Everyone's here, united, wanting the same goal.
The YPG not only fights for the Syrian peoples, but for the whole of humanity. It not only fights against the enemies of the people, but the enemies of the world. Those calling YPG terrorists are the same groups which have used Syrian people as human shields. The YPG has always been for its people and has sacrificed lives for the freedom of its people. This is a plot which has been initiated by Turkish officials which are motivated by their hatred for Rojava and its people, so much that it aims to put its defense force onto a list of terrorist organizations. But they too shall fail, just like Daesh are being pushed out of Raqqa and being defeated today.